Hi. We have not seen this baby in a while. If you're wondering how this is standing up right now, I'm also wondering the same thing. I have some weird shit's weird down here. But it looks good up here in the frame. So hi guys. Welcome to today's video. I've been posting so many videos that have been very short, like aesthetically pleasing looking videos, but I feel like 10 minutes is not enough time for us to hang out. 10 minutes it's too short to come in every week, give you guys a video, and then I'm gone before we even get to like really catch up with each other. Is this a podcast episode? Could be, because like I have a mic and we have the setup, but I'm not trying to put any type of label on it. I just want to talk to you guys. I'm just going to call this a really long YouTube video that has good audio, hopefully. Today I want to talk about change. It's a topic that I bring up a lot because I feel like within the past few years of my life and just like in your 20s in general, that is one thing that is constantly happening. You are constantly changing, the things around you are constantly changing, and it's something that I really had to come to peace with because I am someone that was never good with change. I hated change, was absolutely scared of it. I just wanted to stay in my comfortable little bubble of always the same thing and never have to deal with learning new and unlearning old and just feeling safe within what was familiar to me. I obviously had to learn, I think, one of the biggest lessons in life, which is life is about change and growth. And I think that the one constant in life is that it is ever changing. And once you come to terms with that, and once you learn to accept that, life starts to make a lot more sense. And it also becomes, I think, even more beautiful because you start to see how precious each moment is, because you know that it's going to change. You know that whatever is in front of you isn't going to be forever. It makes you more present in each moment because you know that you won't be there again, that it can change, that can go away. You appreciate what is in front of you even more and take note of what is in front of you and where you are in life. When I've gone through my biggest life changes, they made me realize that I was looking at life through a little pinhole. I was looking at life one certain way, which made me only understand it in one certain way. And then when I started to see how many possibilities are out there for change and for newness in my life, I started to see the world 360 all around. It was like I went from, how do they say? Like I went from vertical to landscape view, panoramic. And I was shocked. I started to see how much more in control I am of my life, not in control of the change of it a lot of the time, because sometimes there is change that happens that just you have to accept. I was in control of how I reacted to the change. I was in control of where I take my life from there, how I'm going to go about it. Am I going to try to force myself back into what is familiar and what is comfortable? Which obviously never works out in your favor. The change is going to happen anyways. And when you try to go back to fit yourself into this box that you've already outgrown, you try to put yourself back into this phase of life that you're just not meant to be in anymore, it's just not going to work. That's where the real being uncomfortable is going to be, because there's no growth that happens there. Change is happening so that you are growing into the next phase in your life, to learn new things, to unlearn old things. Change is obviously scary. You can be scared of it. You can be fearful of it. That's just a normal human emotion. Of course, everyone reacts to it differently. I used to be so fearful of it. Now, I still am in ways. Change makes me uneasy sometimes. It makes me feel like I don't know where to go from here. I think my personality is someone that I like to know what is going to happen. I like to know kind of the outcome of things. It's still kind of a work in progress to fully let go of that and trust that I'm going to end up wherever I'm supposed to end up. I get there, but it does take a little bit of reassuring myself and talking to myself to get there. But I'm way better than how I was before, where I was just really trying to avoid the change as much as possible. And it really just made me so scared because I didn't know where I was going to be, what the future was going to look like, how I was going to feel. I couldn't picture it. And that scared the hell out of me. And now, although I still have a little bit of that fear of change, the other side of it is a lot of hope. It's a lot of excitement because it means that there's going to be a lot of newness in your life, a lot of new experiences, new opportunities, and that is so exciting. You don't know what those are going to look like. So the road ahead after things are changing in your life is unknown. You can either be scared of it or you can be inspired by it. Since it is unknown and you don't know what it's going to be, it could be the best thing yet. It could be the biggest blessing in your life could happen. A lot of the time, I think that things turn out in a way that your imagination can't even make up. I try to believe that it's going to be better than anything that I can make up in my head. There's this quote that says, "Don't let the space between where you are right now and where you're going to be terrify you. Let it motivate you. Don't let this change scare you. Let it motivate you to make good out of it. Accept the new experiences, accept the newness, accept the new opportunities, explore them. Since it's somewhere that you have never been before, something that you never experienced before, there's so much that you can learn from it. There is so much good that can enter your life, but only if you fully accept it and fully embrace it. When you're constantly like living in that past, living in that familiar zone, in that comfortable zone, there's so much currently in your life that is passing by you in the present moment. If you're not being present and not fully embracing that and you're living somewhere back there, so much of your present life is like passing by you. If you just take a second to fully be where you are right now and take action with what is around you, that is where you're going to see the best growth for your life, because that's deciding where you are right now and where you are going to be. If you're living back there, you are going to take a while to catch up with yourself. You're just delaying that growth and delaying where you can be. I have totally said this to you guys before, but when change happens, you can plant little seeds in your life. So are you going to plant seeds of fear and anxiety and doubt, or are you going to plant seeds of hope and trust and happiness? You get to decide that. It's up to you how you want to go about it. Obviously, guys, I know some of us have anxiety. I have anxiety. A lot of the time, it's something that I can't even really control. That's like, the whole point of it. I can get myself to calm down and I could just try to reassure myself and remind myself all the things that I'm telling you right now. It helps a lot with like journaling and just like writing over and over and over again. Dude, if you guys read my journal, I would sound like a crazy person, because once my mind starts to wander sometimes when I'm writing, because I write some crazy shit down. Like my mind comes up with some crazy shit. And once I kind of I find myself like spiraling or wandering off with my thoughts, I bring myself back and I write affirmations like in between. I tell myself like, I just need to trust. I need to trust. Everything's okay. I need to relax. I literally sound psycho probably in my journal. But that's how I affirm myself and get myself away from those anxious thoughts. I'm like, no, those are just thoughts. My thoughts are not facts. If I'm scared about this certain thing, a lot of time it's like irrational thoughts and it's literally just fear. So I counteract those fearful thoughts with affirmations and with fact, which is, I don't know how things are going to turn out. I don't know the future and I don't know where I'm going to end up in certain things, but I want to let that space between now and me figuring out what that looks like to inspire me and not scare me. Maybe I'm just dramatic. Maybe, honestly, yeah. I am the drama a lot of the time. I do it to myself. I make things super dramatic in my head. Is it romanticizing things, or am I just anxious and overthink? I think that's what it is, but sometimes I will catch myself randomly. I'll be like in the car, driving someplace. Honestly, sometimes after I've had like a really, really good day, really fun day with my friends, doing this and that, and I kind of just sit with myself and I think like, wow, life has changed so much. I am in such a different phase in my life, such a different place in my life. I am so much happier. I have such a good relationship with myself. I have so much peace. I have so much hope. I have so much excitement, motivation, inspiration. I have new opportunities, new experiences. I have new friends in my life. I have old friends in my life. And what's funny about my friends is that although I've known a lot of them for a long time, I wasn't close with a lot of them. Honestly, any of them like super close with when I had my whole era of like being in a relationship. I really didn't hang out with many people. It wasn't even like I was with that significant other all the time. I was really isolated, like a lot. None of my friends really knew that version of me. They know this healed version of me. They know my true authentic self because I have finally let her out. I have finally fully embraced who I am and what I like and truly experience life and make decisions based on my happiness and based on me and where I'm going and where I'm going to end up. They know me so wholeheartedly, which is such a beautiful thing. Like, I'm able to make such deep connections and really have the most beautiful friendships because I am being my authentic self. If you are not living your authentic life and being who you are, how is anyone supposed to truly understand you? How are people supposed to listen and see you for who you are if you're not being your authentic self? I just look back at myself at a time where I wasn't living my authentic life and I wasn't being truly me. And I'm like, my friends didn't know that version of me. No one truly could see me, see who I was and see how much I was hurting. And I wasn't even fully letting myself. I was pushing a lot of different emotions and stuff away, almost like desensitizing myself to a lot. I am so happy with the way that I reacted to change in my life because I really fully embraced the opportunity to live for myself, to embrace the change and the new experiences in my life, to say yes to more things that came my way, to make new connections, to meet new people, to really honestly like meet myself and understand myself truly because of the way that I reacted to the change in my life. Like I said, I didn't know where I was going to end up. I didn't know what my future was going to look like, but I knew it was going to be good because I knew that I was going to make decisions based off of my happiness and I knew I was going to choose me. That's why randomly when I'm driving home and I'm alone, I will think of how much has changed in my life. I will have this sense of gratitude for myself. I will be so grateful for everything that's in my life right now. All the good and the bad and the beautiful and the ugly and all of it. You don't know how good things can be. You don't know how beautiful the road ahead can be. I've had the most beautiful blessings come into my life and I would have never guessed them. I would have absolutely, in a million years, would have guessed that would happen. And I am someone that likes to guess. If I know there's a surprise coming, I will think of 1,000 different options that it could be. That is me, and that's my truth. But the best things that have happened are better than anything I would have imagined. And the truth is, you just don't know. Truth is, you just don't know. Life is going to surprise you. It's going to take you in 1,000 different ways, and you just don't know. But that's exciting. I know it's scary. Duh, it's scary. That's just the truth. It's going to be scary. Life is scary, but it's also beautiful. It'll throw you down, but it'll pick you back up. It'll surprise you. It'll challenge you, but it'll make you grow. But it'll make you go into like that next phase of your life that you need to be in. I never ever thought that I would be someone that would seek out change in their lives. I now am constantly like, okay, how can we switch it up? Oh, you want to go do this when our plans were like this? Okay, sure. Like, let's change it up. Let's switch it up. For the plot, makes the best stories. It really, really does. Some of my best stories within the past, 2 years have been because of just turning left when I was planning on turning right. I honestly never regret spicing up life in those certain ways. I constantly find myself, when I'm out, especially if I'm out like on the weekends or whatever with my friends, I ask myself, like, what can I do right now to just make this like a good story? What can I do right now that can just make this night even more memorable or even more like legendary? Whether that's like daring my friend to like go do something, or sparking up conversation with this person, or meeting this person. A lot of like different routes in your life are based around like the people that you talk to and like new people that you meet, because you can learn so much from new people that you meet. And I think life is all about those people that are around you and new connections that you make. Take it from me personally, taking the route of the unknown and going someplace that you don't know what it looks like is so much better than a place that you don't belong. As I said before, a lot of newness happens in your life, and that is because when change happens, there's a lot of room for new things. I would much rather be in this big space of change where it might be empty because it's new. Think of it as this new chapter in your life and this new era, and you get this big new space to fill it with everything new that is going to come into your life in this next chapter. I would much rather be in that space of not knowing what it's going to look like rather than being in this box that I've outgrown, that there's no room to grow. There's no room for new things. It's filled with a past self and a past life that I'm trying to relate to and I just don't anymore. You may think that that is safe, and you may think that that familiarity means that that's where you're supposed to belong, but just because something is familiar doesn't mean that you're supposed to be there. And just because something is scary and something is unknown doesn't mean that it's wrong. Just because something makes you a little bit anxious doesn't mean that you're not supposed to do it. Yes, listen to your intuition. I'm 1,000% on board with listening to your intuition and knowing your boundaries with things and knowing, when something feels right and something feels wrong. But there are times where your fear is taking over in those certain situations, and you have to just feel the fear and keep going and keep pushing, because that new space that you have can be filled with the most amazing experiences in your life. And it doesn't look like how life used to be, but that's the point. It's also a good reminder to look at where you are right now and just kind of take mental notes and have different appreciation for it, because you know that things will change eventually. Like the past year of my life, there were a lot of different experiences where I had to stop myself and just be so present and be so thankful for it. Like about a year ago or so, Nat and I were really in our era of like going out every single weekend together. We would go to the same bars, we had the same routine, we would get ready in like her childhood bedroom, and it was like the best time. And as those weekends went on, her and I both had conversations like this, like we are going to look back in this time of our life and just be so grateful for it, and like we're never gonna have this again where we get ready in your childhood bedroom and go out on the weekends, and like we're both in our single era and everything. And it was just such a beautiful time of like girlhood and in our relationship, in our friendship, that made us be so close. And it was so much fun, so much fun. Now in our life, we're still going out, but it's just not the same as it was before. We're not getting ready in the same place as we used to. It's just different. And being different isn't bad. It's just different. But I'm so glad that during that time, I realized how important it was and how special it was, and how I knew I was going to look back and cherish that time so much. And it made me even more present in it, and it made me just cherish it even more in the moment. So through different experiences in my life, it just has made me realize how important it is to be, I mean, it sounds so like cliche, but like to be so grateful in the moment. But there's so many times that moments pass by and I forget to be here. And that's also why I'm encouraging to embrace new eras and new change in your life, because if you're just living in the past, how are you supposed to be grateful and present in these moments? I just feel like in the future, you're forever going to look back in those times and like maybe not remember as much, or maybe be a little bit like in this, it feels like clouded. It feels like this gray area. And I think that's because you weren't fully present. I think that you might have been a little bit too in your head, which, guys, I constantly in my head, like I have to yell at this bitch, like, get the fuck out of here. Get here, get out of here. It's a constant battle with me, okay? We're working on it. But I think that's when that kind of like cloudiness comes. It's when I'm not being fully in the moment. Trust me, I love to overthink things. Like, that is like one of my favorite things to do, of course. But there's a time where you have to tell yourself, like, girl, get out of your own damn head. But with me saying that, I'm not saying to not think about the past sometimes, because that's when like healing happens. When you journal, when you try to work through things, it's not like, okay, the past is the past and like peace out, like I'm never gonna think about you again, because past comes up, trauma comes up, things come up. That's how you work through things, that's how you get through things. And I gave myself time to kind of analyze and really think, and that was important. I didn't let myself just sit in the past, but because I allowed myself that time to, hey, now let's like journal and let's think about this and let's try to like work through things, because I was allowing those thoughts to come through at those times. They weren't like all consuming. They were just like, okay, I'm giving myself this time, write it down. And it made me separate kind of like the past to where I am right now. I'm writing about all these beautiful things that are happening in my life, but I'm also giving myself the space to like grieve the past and grieve another era of my life that I was in, to grieve like a past version of myself, but also be so grateful and welcome this new version of myself. It's both. It's having gratitude and peace with what once was, and acceptance and hope for where I am now and what will be. Growth and acceptance is never black and white. Honestly, you're probably going to feel like something is wrong before it feels so good. Sometimes it's going to make you feel really angry for this change before you start to realize why it had to happen and really experience that new best thing that's in your life. I always had so much hope for how amazing things can be. Whoa, I'm going to get emotional. I always had so much hope for how amazing things can be. But now that I'm here and like I'm experiencing those things, it makes it so special. It makes it so special because I always had hope, and being here makes it so much more sweet. I really am so grateful for all the little things in my life and every single aspect of where I am, what I have filled this new space in my life with. I am so grateful for, and I love every bit of it. I have been feeling that I have a new chapter in my life that's going to come, a new era. It's just like a feeling that you have, I think, turning 26, it being 2024 and a new year. I am so excited for new experiences and new opportunities. I feel being pushed into like this new space in my life. I have been feeling that I've been getting a little comfortable recently. I've been like pushing out of that, but I had this little moment where I was like, I'm a little comfortable with how things are, and I don't like that. I know that that's when change like needs to happen. I know when things need to be switched up and spiced up is when I get a little bit too comfortable with the space. It's comfortable, but then it's also uncomfortable. Like I feel myself kind of outgrowing certain areas in my life. Obviously, like living at home is like a big thing. It's almost like I'm so comfortable at home that it's making me uncomfortable. And then there's other aspects that are making me uncomfortable. It's like a weird space that I'm in. And I don't know what this new era of my life is going to look like. I don't know where I want to live. I don't know if I want a roommate or live by myself. I don't know any of it, but I am so open to so much, and I am letting go with where that is actually supposed to like look like. I know that everything's going to end up exactly where it's supposed to be. In the meantime, we work hard, we have good hope and good intentions, and it's just going to happen. I know that big change I'm ready for another big change in my life. I feel it coming, and I'm just ready for another era, a new era, 2024, 26-year-old Lynn's, like, what is that going to look like? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. I could give you some guesses, but who the heck knows where it's going to be and what it's going to look like. I want to leave you off with this. Your feelings are so valid. Whatever you're feeling, going through this change in your life, they are so, so, so valid, and they're so accepted. I hear you. I see you. I know. Trust me. Don't let those emotions get in the way of where you're supposed to be and all of the beautiful things that are supposed to enter your life. You don't know what it's going to look like, but that's the good thing, and that's the most exciting thing. Let life surprise you. Let life take you where it's supposed to be. It's the most beautiful thing about it. Be so grateful for where you are, where you were, where you're gonna be. Like I said, the one constant throughout life is change, but the other constant is yourself. So always be there for yourself. Be your own best friend. Be there by your side. Even though things are constantly changing, since things are constantly changing, you're always gonna be there. So be nice to yourself during this process. Be there for yourself during this process because you need you. You need you. Don't neglect yourself. You need that tender love and care, and give it to yourself. Anyways, guys, that was a long chat. I have to pee so badly, so I'm going to leave you off here. Love you, and we'll do this again sometime. Yeah? Okay.